Skadoosh. Oh. Oh. Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers. Welcome to my latest podcast, where today I talk about the newly released fourth installment in the animated Dreamworks film series, Kung Fu Panda 4. Yes, the fourth movie in this series. Directed by Mike Mitchell and Stephanie Stine, released in 2024. So, we all thought Kung Fu Panda was done after the third one. So Jack Black and Dreamworks have teamed up this time to bring us a fourth installment. Will they carry on? Who knows? But for now, this is the most recent film in the franchise. After Po is tapped to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace, he needs to find and train a new dragon warrior, while a wicked sorceress plans to resummon all the master villains whom Po has vanquished to the spirit realm. On paper, that sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? In execution, it ain't great. Oh, God. Remember when the Shrek movies came out, and when we got to the third one, and it started to feel very tired, and it started to feel like they were running out of ideas, and there wasn't really many places left for that series to go. And Shrek the Third was received terribly, and they made a fourth one to apologise, and it was slightly better. This is the point that we're at with Kung Fu Panda. I feel like Kung Fu Panda had peaked so much with the first three. This movie is terrible. I did not enjoy Kung Fu Panda 4. We are at this point now where the series has become so tired, so forced, it really feels just like an unnecessary add-on to what was already there. This movie isn't horrible, it's not god-awful, but by God, this is a big disappointment, especially if you're a big fan of the series. I don't know what I was really expecting, because the marketing for Kung Fu Panda 4, it didn't really grab me. I was never that hooked by Kung Fu Panda 4 in the trailers. I just thought, okay, it's kind of another one. I'll go and see it. I like the first three, but I don't really think it's entirely necessary. And having seen the movie, I still stand by my thoughts. God, I've never known a 90-minute film to be so boring, but Kung Fu Panda 4 is boring. That's its biggest problem. It's so dull. It really is dull. Nothing happens in this movie a bunch of times. This whole plot about Po needing to move on from his role as the Dragon Warrior, and the movie does this a lot, referring to its theme about change. You know, we're having a character called the Chameleon who can physically change, and there's this constant idea that, you know, things don't need to be the same, things need to change, things need to evolve in order to become better. That's a great theme, but it's kind of ironic when you think about the way this movie turned out, because it feels very predictable. It feels very much the same as what we've had the last three films. Now, don't get me wrong, Jack Black is terrific as Po. He has proved beyond a shadow of a doubt in all four of these movies that he was the right person for this part, and he loves it. He loves being Po. You can hear it in his voice. He is delightful, and that's no exception here. And the actors across the board do a good job. We'll talk more about some of the smaller ones later, but obviously we've got Viola Davis, who is the Chameleon. She's good. Awkwafina as Zhen. She's probably the next biggest cast member in the film. Dustin Hoffman briefly as Shifu, Bryan Cranston as Lee, James Hong as Mr. Ping, Ian McShane as Tai Lung, Hugh Quan as Han, etc. You know, I could go on and on with that. The first disappointment of this movie is the fact that the Furious 5 aren't in it. Barely. I mean, they turn up in the credits to help with a training montage. When they do turn up, they don't speak. So for most of the movie, we are told that they're on their separate missions. So I can understand why people would feel that this movie has a certain detachment from the other films and from the TV shows. And I certainly feel that detachment. I do feel like the movie did suffer without them. And it was just pointless to have this other character replace them. And you know what character I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. The character of Zhen, played by Awkwafina. Why is Awkwafina in everything? She's everywhere. Give someone else the work. She doesn't need the work. Come on. Oh, first she was in Shang-Chi, Then she was in The Little Mermaid remake. Then she was in Raya and the Last Dragon. What haven't you cast her in at this point? And she just plays herself. She plays herself in everything she's in. I don't hate her as an actress. I think she's okay, but I'd like to see her do something that would expand her range. This character, I don't care about Jen. I do not give a shit about this character. She's this fox who's this kind of street urchin who tries to steal something from the Hall of Heroes. Poe has a fight with her, tries to arrest her. Then she tells him about the chameleon. They go on a mission together, and you can tell where the movie's going. The predictability of this movie is so ridiculously lazy. This movie is terrible. The laziness of the writing is awful. I mean, as beautiful as it looks, and as beautiful as it sounds, and as good as the action is, it all comes down to one thing, and that is the script. The script for this film is terrible. And this bond between these two characters, I just didn't feel it. And there's this stupid cliche with the liar reveal as well, which I could see coming from a mile away. And it's so obvious that she's going to become his successor. You know, why else is she there? You know, she serves no other purpose. And also Poe's dads, Lee and Ping, they are in the film more than they really need to be. They are really overused. They are there for forced comedy that really isn't funny at this point. And I know the film isn't aimed for me, it is aimed for younger people, but at the same time, I have grown up watching these films, and the humour's always been, you know, quite good. But the humour is so juvenile, and there's even a point where there are 3 little bunny rabbits who are talking about sickening violence. I'm not even joking you. There are 3 little bunnies talking about violence. I'm sorry, Mike Mitchell, is this really appropriate? You really thought that this was funny? Why would you do that? That's just sick. I honestly don't understand why he thought that was funny, because it really isn't. You know, if kids see that, that's going to send a really misleading message. So the attempts at humour are absolutely juvenile, ridiculous, just so unfunny. And it's just boring. I feel like we are trudging through the same old shit that we've seen before, but at least in the other films it was done better. Most of the time things happen for no reason in this film. It's just because it's convenient. And the chameleon, oh God, the chameleon, what a waste of a villain. She looks cool, she can shape-shift, big deal. You know, Viola Davis is a great actress, but a wasted character, completely wasted character. Her introductory scene in the meeting, she reveals herself to the animals, and then she pushes a bear down the stairs. Wow. I mean, that's it. That's just so... Oh, wow, I'm so thrilled. See, there's just no impact with this whatsoever. And her desire to achieve all the kung fu in the world and to steal kung fu from everybody in the spirit realm. What? I mean, if I were her opening the spirit realm, I would choose Oogway's kung fu, because he's the one with ultimate power. You know, he is the ultimate kung fu master. So why didn't she steal his kung fu? It seems silly that she would steal Tai Lung's kung fu when he was the one in the first movie striving to be the Dragon Warrior, but whatever. At that point, I just didn't give a fuck. The action of the film is fine. It works, but it's not as epic as the first 3. There's definitely a lack of stakes in this film, and even the finale, you don't really feel like there's a huge amount of stakes to it. It's just another Kung Fu Panda film. And I feel like the whole plot is really forced. The fact that Poe has to be forced to give up the Dragon Warrior role, it should really be his choice. Like, the fact that Shifu is forcing him to now move on, it just feels a bit strange. It feels like it has come out of freaking nowhere, just because, oh, well, we need a plot for this film, so, yeah, let's do that. I just don't know where this came from, and I don't know why they felt they needed to tell this story, because this whole story is totally unnecessary, and even Shifu doesn't get much to do in the movie either. As for other moments, the Happy Bunny Tavern scene was quite fun. I did quite enjoy that. That's probably my favourite scene in the film. And we're also treated to some nostalgia bait as well, like there's old villains from the other films that come back, and Ian McShane returns as Tai Lung and has about 5 lines in the movie, which is nice, I suppose, if you like the other films. But ultimately, this movie adds nothing to the Kung Fu Panda series, and ultimately the series ended with the 3rd one. the way that Po discovered himself and almost became the true leader of Kung Fu at the end of the last film. It felt very final, and the valley was at peace, and everybody was happy. And I'm not saying that we couldn't have that we had to have a sad ending or something not happy in this one. But if you're going to do a fourth movie, you should have at least come up with a plot that wasn't so thin, and something that was more exciting, something that had more weight to it. Don't get me wrong, I love Po as a character. He's so lovable, and he is great. But Kung Fu Panda 4, it really is just the clearest sign that this franchise really has no more steam left in it. There is nothing else you can do to enhance this film. It's a terrible drag of a movie. It's not so much a mess, it's more just really disappointing. The quality really is very bad. When you compare it to the first three, you look at it and go, wow, this is a real dip. And it's such a shame. I really didn't feel that we needed this film. And it's at this point where I say the Kung Fu Panda series has officially run out of steam. If they do another one, it will just be adding insult to injury. Because quite frankly, I think that the films should have ended with 3. It should have been a trilogy. We didn't need this movie. It offers nothing to the series. I mean, and this Zheng character, I mean, if you like her, then fine. But I didn't care for her. I really just didn't care for her, nor Po's relationship with her. So yeah, overall, Kung Fu Panda 4 was a massive, massive disappointment. I really don't think that they should make another one. So I'm going to score Kung Fu Panda 4 a 4 out of 10. So that is my review of Kung Fu Panda 4. What do you think? Please comment down below, let me know. I want to give a shout out to Harry Thomas because I saw the movie with him and we had a Chinese afterwards, which was quite nice. So Harry, this mention is for you. And stay tuned, at some point I will probably do a ranking of the Kung Fu Panda films. I might do some rankings and more reviews will come. But until next time, skadoosh.